Circumference and area of a circle. So the circumference formula and area formula look really similar. And there's kind of different ways you can think about circumference, or two different versions of the formula. So just as a reminder, R stands for radius, D stands for diameter. And so with that, the diameter is twice the length of the radius. And pi is approximately 3.14. It's actually an irrational number, but we can only write down the approximate answer. And Alex typically is always going to ask us to just use 3.14. Okay, so if you want to find the circumference of a circle, which is the distance around the outside of the circle, it's basically the perimeter, you can either do 2 times pi times the radius, or you can do pi times the diameter, because the diameter is 2 times the radius. So these give you the same thing. For area, though, you have to use the radius, and so it's pi times the radius squared. Okay, so let's just do a couple. So it says find the circumference and area of a circle with diameter 3 yards. So diameter is 3 yards, and so we see here it's all the way across the circle. It says use the value 3.14 for pi, and do not round your answers. Be sure to include the correct units in your answers. Okay, so let's do the circumference first. Since they give us the diameter, I'm going to use pi d for my circumference. So pi is approximately 3.14, and then our diameter is given to us as 3. So I'm just going to multiply these two together. Ugh, what would that be? Get my calculator going. Okay, let's clear all that. 3.14 times 3. 9.42, and it said don't round, so we would want to put in, exactly 9.42. 9.42. And the circumference is always just the plane units. We call it a linear unit, even though this is circular. But area would be square units, volume would be cube units. So circumference is just plain yards. Okay, so then for our area, that is pi r squared. So we have to work out our radius in order to find the area. And our radius would have to be then half the diameter, so 3 divided by 2. And you can use 1.5 if you want. You can use 3 over 2 if you want, whatever you're comfortable with. I'll do 1.5 since we're going to put this in our calculator anyway. So we're going to use 3.14 again for our pi. And then radius is 1.5, and we want to square it. And so I have to, with this kind of goofy calculator, I have to do this in a couple of stages, but with the Alex calculator, I'm pretty sure you can just input exactly this and it'll work really well. So I have to follow order of operations, 1.5 and then squared. So that's 2.25, and now I'm going to do times 3.14. 7.065. And again, it said don't round, so we are going to type in to Alex exactly 7.065. Now, this time, since we're doing area, and also notice this squared, we are going to need to have square units. So in this case, square yards. Okay, so let's do one more. So sometimes they give you the diameter, but sometimes they give you the radius. Oops. So this particular circle, they gave us the radius is 9 feet. And we're still supposed to find circumference and area. So circumference, since we have the radius, is 9. I'm going to use 2 pi r. And I mean, you can always just use the same one, and it's not a big deal. But so 2 times 3.14 times 9. Okay, so 2 times 3.14, dang it, 14 times 9. Okay, 56.52, and again, we're not rounding. So 56.52. This time our units are in feet, so the circumference is just feet. So for area, pi r squared. Now we already know r is 9. We don't need to divide it by 2 or anything like that. So we're going to do 3.14 times 9 squared. And I'm going to do the 9 squared by hand so I don't have to put as much in my calculator. So it's 3.14 times 81. The less I have to put in my calculator, the better, because I, for some reason, seem to have trouble with this Windows calculator. Okay, 254.34. 254.34. And it's feet, but this time we're talking about area, so it's square feet. And you can basically remember that since you're squaring your radius, you're going to end up with square feet. In fact, you could even write out this area calculation as, 3.14, I pretend that equals isn't there, I don't know why I did that, times 9 feet squared, so that you can see you actually are going to end up with feet squared here. So you can actually include your units. Whereas up here on my circumference, if I throw in my feet, I only have one of them, right? I don't have any other unit of feet to multiply by and get a square foot. It's just feet. So hopefully that makes sense.